Hey guys, welcome to Two Guys in Hockey Talk, Season 4, Episode... Hey, this is the 30, Pavel the Cat.
The
Episode 30.
number 30 episode. How you doing, Evan?
Hey, is that as in 3-0 for in the lead for the playoffs? Like some of those teams were that are going to get beat 4 straight? Bang, bang, bang. And we're going to have a Cinderella upset in the NHL playoffs first round. That'd be cool.
Oh, most likely. I'm looking forward. There's only a few more days left of the season. It's been a hell of a season. Now, we've got a special guest lined up to you. Evan, I'm going to get you to introduce them for us. They're coming in a bit. Go ahead. Talk about who we got tonight.
Yeah, guys. So tonight our guest is none other than Rob Schremp. So if you are from the area of New York, you will know him as he played with the Islanders, but was also a New York boy. He was drafted also by the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. I believe it was 25th overall in 2004-2005. He was also a first-round draft pick of first overall of the OHL, Rookie of the Year, won a Memorial Cup, played on 2 USA World Junior Championship teams. He is now an NHL skills coach and IQ coach, helping sharpen offensive skills for people. Some incredible work he's doing. So he's running just a little bit behind. So we're going to leave you guys in suspense. We got some great stuff that we're just kind of preparing. So just hang on. If you got questions for Rob, we want you guys to be able to share those things. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for him, we want to queue up some stuff that we're doing. So why don't you go ahead and update everybody a little bit on where they can find us, how they can follow us.
So every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You guys can go give us a follow, give us a like and subscribe. It really helps us. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone tuning in from all around the world. It's been pretty cool. We're talking about the people that tune in from Australia because they're going to be getting an NHL game next season. That's pretty awesome.
We
partnered up with Sports Empire. Give them a follow. They've got all your sporting needs covered. So Freddie and the team there, they do a great job, whether it's NBA, NFL, NBA play-in round happening right now. It's exciting. We're not going to talk about it here, I promise. But I'm just saying NFL starting up again. The Jays are back up. The MLB is back. So all your sporting needs, it's coming in to you. Now, Evan.
Well, no, you've forgotten because you haven't been using it yet. JR Web Designs, our newest partnership. We got to make sure to put our plug in there for him.
I was trying to give it to you and then go back to it, but okay, sure. JR
so
Web
So we partnered up with JR Web Designs, guys. So if you're looking to put up a website, they are an incredibly good price they'll give you. They'll set up your website, get it going and up and running for you, just like they are in the process of doing now. I want to apologize. So they've gone and got started. It's totally a mess still because I haven't got all the information that JR Web Designs needs for our site. It's a lot of stuff that we're going to be putting up. So we are hoping that by this time next week, we're going to have a base page that's already up and running. One of the great things of our release with our website is you're going to be able to not just so what you're seeing right now, we're going to be sending a live YouTube channel feed to our website. So if it's easier for you to access through twoguysinhockeytalk.com, then you can go into there and just click your share buttons, do whatever you're going to do. But also our writers. So JR Web Design, Jeff, who owns the company, is going to be our first writer that will be joining some of the stuff that Pavel likes to get out there. I think we've convinced one of our regular followers and viewers who comes on the show and will visit arenas around. That's the Lost Trucker, Zylstra. She said she's going with the tag, the Lost Trucker. So she's always getting lost in hockey arenas. So just do not tell her boss that she's out and about at a local ECHL, AHL, NHL arena around you. So I'm pretty excited.
If this is one of those self-driving Tesla trucks, so that she can type as she's driving through the American Midwest there. So.
Oh man, I know.
Totally. Hey Ray, how you doing? It's good to see you. Always a pleasure. Welcome back. Those New Jersey Devils, man, they're exciting. Now, Evan, I want to bring up before do you have a beverage?
Okay, I got my beverage. Let's do it.
You got your beverage. I want to ask. Ooh.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the Arizona Coyotes playing the Los Angeles Kings in Australia next season. Go.
No, I think this is a wonderful idea. We've talked about on the show how, incredibly, why would people in Australia want to catch in with two guys in Hockey Talk? So if they're following us on Hockey Talk, you got to say that there's a viewership that's out there. I think an incredible way to grow the game. Now, the problem is they're exactly in the wrong time zone, so everything's going to have to be watched. Well, when they're there live, but if you're going to grab a viewership, they're always watching pre-recorded games, which is why streaming is the way to go for hockey.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to name our show now, on top of everything else, we name it Two Guys Down Under.
Two Guys Down Under. And to get it up and moving. Okay,
all right.
So well, we have a few other things. We just talked about, there's two things that are happening this week. Why don't you tell them what we're doing Sunday, and then I'll let them know for next Wednesday.
So we're coming on live on Sunday just to do an extra show, just so that we can talk and preview the playoffs, because almost 15 out of 16 teams, apart from tonight, we don't want to know the scores, could potentially make the playoffs tonight or set essentially. And we just need to know the order of who's facing who. And we know Toronto's going to face Tampa for sure. That's set. But almost everywhere else, it's still, in the next 2 days, it's going to get figured out while the season ends. So we're going to go in, and then on Wednesday, when you tune in regularly to our 7 p.m. show Mountain Standard Time, we're going to get you guys to call into our show and ask us questions about anything and everything. It's going to be very interactive. Now, we already have that interactive part where you can write, but we want to hear from you guys, and you can come in and you can chat and ask us questions, and we know nothing. So we're just going to look like we have blank stares on our faces and can't answer, but that's okay. Evan knows nothing about web design or hockey, so clearly he's not going to be able to answer anything. But I'm happy to give you some answers that will probably anger another fan base. So I'm good with that. And if you don't like our answers, you can then tweet at us. You can tweet Evan at Revenev, or you can tweet me at hockey_2. And there you can tell us how wrong we are.
Absolutely. So guys, essentially it's what's going to happen. So whoever you are, we're going to put it in the comment section. There's going to be a live invite, and what it'll happen, it'll take you into the back room. And once you get into the back room on the stream, once you bring on StreamYard, you're going to be sitting there waiting to be brought on live to our show. And we're going to bring you on for anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes to talk a little bit of hockey, share your favorite comments, argue with Pavel, basically prove to him, give him stats, and then challenge him. Really, Pavel is our researcher, so I want you to out-research him, get your stuff together. Ray, we know that you got to be on, buddy. Kyle, if you're catching this even afterwards, make sure that you're coming on. Let's talk Bruins. Now, I know we have a lot of people that we want on as guests. The problem we're running into this year is there's so many flipping guests. I mean, this is a great thing, but at the same time, it's hard to get everyone on when we only have between 40 and 42 shows in the year for an entire season. So we think that this is a good way to have that interaction. So you help us make this happen. I think this is going to be fun. I'll make sure that I have a little timer in the background for Pavel for his counter answers. But we'll let the hockey fans go on, but we're going to cut you off.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, if every guest comes on and says 2 to 5 minutes of something insightful, even asks a question, that's way beyond what you've been asking and sharing on this show. So it's a bonus. It works, right? I love it. And I just want to say it out there to all the fans. You heard that, all these guests. You have to really be a Twitter follower of Evan. Otherwise, he doesn't want you on the show. Just so you know. You heard it from the horse's mouth.
By the way, because we're mentioning different places, so wherever you're from, so there's a couple areas in the United States that have really been jumping on big time. So Ray, we're gonna say you're leading the pack. The state of New Jersey has really jumped up in our followership out in that area. I don't know if you're telling people about Two Guys or what's going on, or if we call you Billboard Ray because you're advertising Two Guys.
Ray, make sure you tell them in Hockey Talks, not just Two Guys, because
I know Two Guys.
Not going well there.
So the other thing, not other thing, because we're not going to call your state a thing, but the other place is Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania has really been jumping up big time on their numbers. In fact, I like to say last week's show 65% of our viewership came out of the United States. So Canada, you need to pick it up a little. You're known as the hockey country, but it doesn't seem like you're actually getting enough people on with you. Quit taking advantage of your overdosed hockey that you're in and jump on the show, get people in. We want to be a source for all things hockey as we go through it. So
now,
anyway,
I do want to mention one thing. So I had the opportunity to go see an Ottawa Senators game last Saturday.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal. The Canada Tire Center. So I posted a video on our Facebook page. Make sure to check it out. I'll try to put it. I think I put it on Twitter as well. I really like the arena. It feels a little smaller, a little tight, but I like it. My only complaint, and I'm sure Ottawa Senators fans can harp on me for this on Twitter, but it's just a little far out, right? And it's far out from downtown and where it is from the airport. Like it's quite the drive. So, but I did have a great time. The atmosphere is phenomenal. It was a high-scoring game, 7-4 versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, of course, they brought it. I think there was one disallowed goal. Jordan, who's been on the show, we had a lot of fun. We had a few beers. They really know how to bring the crowd out. And it was a great time. Ottawa was overall fun. But, yeah, I really like that. However, unfortunately, I did not see Ryan Reynolds, and I'm really disappointed that he did not get back to me because I was expecting something. I know there's not been a lot of traction with the arena purchase, but most likely come summertime or in the next month or so, we'll see a deal being done. So, and I know he's part of that Remington Steel company. But your thoughts on Ottawa and the team?
So, correct me if I'm wrong. If anyone's been following the Senators' ownership, just a quick moment on the side. Just for those that do not know, we are just waiting in on Robbie Schremp, also known as Rob Schremp now. I guess he's not a kid. We don't call him Robbie anymore. Rob Schremp is a former first overall draft pick of the OHL. Also was the Rookie of the Year. He won a Memorial Cup with the London Powerhouse Knights. Crazy. Played with some incredible players during his time. He is now an NHL skills pro coach, working with different groups to go from junior to pro, teaching them all things. And he's got a consultant business, been working with elite prospects, several other groups. So great work. Hey, Lazirin, man, how you guys doing? Hey, Kyle, thanks, guys, for jumping in here. Want to make mention, if you just are joining in, next week, next Wednesday, we are going to be sending a link out so you can join us live. And we'll be bringing you on the air for 2 to 5 minutes if you plan to jump back in. As well, if you just got on now, I don't want you guys to miss out because I know people are in and out. On Sunday, special NHL playoff edition predictions that we're going to walk through the teams. Pavel and I are going to come on for a show. My guess is it will not be a full hour show. Well, actually, Pavel's on, so yeah, it probably will take a full hour for him to get through all the little details he wants to talk about with hopefully his New York Islanders making it. So anyway,
they're going to give Boston a hell of a run. I'm not saying Boston is invincible, but they've got Sorokin. So, but anyway,
okay. So, Kyle, I don't know if you're still there right now, buddy, but I want to talk about your Bruins for a moment. Can I do this before we hit on our prediction show for Sunday? I want to talk a little bit more on that show, but right now, two things. It seems, and I've done some polls, based on 200-300 people coming in on a poll saying what they want. It's looking like most people are starting to believe that the Edmonton Oilers will come out of the West and obviously the Boston Bruins out of the East, and they will meet in the final. Whatever you guys think, that's perfectly fine. Obviously, some of you may be thinking that that's not going to happen at all. But what I want to mention right now, number one, if you're an Oilers fan, I don't know about you, but I'd be a little nervous. I'm almost feeling there's a little bit too much swagger and cockiness, that there's nowhere to go but down if something does not go right for the Edmonton Oilers in these playoffs. I mean, it's almost like a foreseen that they're going to go all the way to the Stanley Cup final. And if not, the city is just going to go crazy. Oiler fans from all around the world are going to go crazy. So that's the first thing I'm worried about. You can rebuttal in a sec. The second thing is the Boston Bruins. They have had it easy. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but they've had not a lot of strong playoff hockey, and they've been cruising along, and they're not used to losing. What if the Islanders can get up 2-1 to them. I believe they can come out of it, but I think that we need to be careful to not assume, and we know from past history, President's Choice winners, even though they've just been the league's best regular season team in the history of the NHL, and Edmonton is about to sport the number one best power play in the history of the NHL. And both those teams are exciting. We saw the last game between them. Could have win either way. Anyway, rebuttal, man. What's your thoughts?
Well, I certainly love the President's Choice Award because it clearly is a new one that I haven't heard about. So thank you, Evan, for the President's Choice Award. It's the President's Trophy, but okay, well, you got it.
So
it's a low brand, quality value. So.
I just wanted to say, and we'd like to just mention President's Choice as they're one of our sponsors here tonight. Okay,
so Boston agreed with you as much as I hate it.
Okay.
I'm not saying they can't go all the way. I'm saying they're a little bit older, and it's been tough. Now, Ray is saying defense and goaltending is what wins in the playoffs.
Ray,
Oilers have neither, hard to pull them off. Okay,
so go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead. So, Ray, you're not going to get that agreement from Pavel or I.
I would disagree. I think Edmonton's really improved. Now, their goaltending is unproven. I will give you that, but it's not bad. Stuart Skinner is having an unreal season. He's going to be nominated for the Calder. Will he win? Tough to say. He would have my vote, given that where would the Oilers be if he wasn't in net, right? And defense, they have really improved. If you look at their last 6 to 7 games, they've been either 1 goal or less, and they've really stabilized that back end playing defensively thanks to Ekholm. And thanks for Ekholm playing extra, it gives Nurse an opportunity to be a bit more aggressive and a bit more dynamically forward. So I think defense is there. Now, it could change, but I'm telling you right now, with the 2 best players in the world, you have a good chance to go to the final, and I think Edmonton wants that. As for Boston, they have an elite chance to go there. I know they're holding off a few of their players. There's precautionary measures, resting guys. David Krejci is an example. And I'm not saying they can't go far, but the President's Choice Trophy is a real thing. It's happened. And it's tough for them to move forward. Can they make it to the 3rd or 4th round? Definitely. But once the playoff starts, everyone, it doesn't matter about the regular season. It doesn't matter about the awards. It's 0-0. And we see from there. And it goes from game 1.
Okay, so we got Robbie Schremp almost ready to go. So I'm going to send him an email. Go ahead and continue. John has a comment here. I'll let you kind of check in on John here too.
Bruins better not look past the Lightning. Those teams have placed super close. Oh, yes. And whoever's coming out of that series between Tampa and Toronto, they're going to be a little bit banged up because as we saw last night, I watched the game. It was very intense. There was a lot of shoving, a lot of pushing, a couple of fights. Pat Maroon fighting Luke Shen. Like, the Leafs are not going to be pushed around. Jarrett McCabe blocked a shot at the end of the period of the 3rd. He really brought it. Again, Toronto's not kidding around. They're trying to go for it. They believe they have what it takes to win. All the jokes about first-round exits, sure, but they're an elite team, and they are going to try to push. Tampa Bay, they're the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have Vasilevsky. He's unreal. One of the best goalies ever to play the game. They look a little tired, and they no longer have that 3rd line anymore. And either of those teams, they shouldn't be trifled with if Boston's going to face them. And again, Islanders, if they make it, they can give Boston a run for their money and take them to 6 games, even 7 games. You never know what could happen. You go in that barn, and you can definitely make a choice. Yeah, exactly, Ray. President's Choice Trophy when it hasn't won a cup in 10 years. It's true. And that's what I'm saying. They'll go far. Most teams that win the President's Trophy go on to win oftentimes the following few years, right? Washington did it. I believe Chicago did it, so it does happen. It's just not that same year because it's a different beast. So it's definitely, people shouldn't expect. Look at Tampa Bay a couple of years ago. They were President's Trophy winners and they got swept, Evan, by the Columbus Blue Jackets. And, nobody had it.
Yeah.
And John is saying the Hurricanes are a bit stronger than the Islanders. Agreed. But they are missing, I believe, Svechnikov, if I recall. And that's a big loss for them up front. However, Rob Brindamore knows how to get that team in shape. There's also the Rangers. There's also the Devils. Anything can happen. We are not out of the woods yet. That is why I'm looking forward to Puck Drop. on, I believe it's going to be Monday, game 1 for a lot of these
Yeah.
teams. Now, I do
All
want
right.
to talk about one thing that's out of the, or is Robbie on?
Robbie's ready to go.
Bring
Are
him
you
on.
able? So we'll pull it out. I'm just going to get everything ready here just as we come in here. So just give me a moment here.
My only thoughts. Oh, there you go.
Oh, no problem. Hey, guys. Hey, welcome. Our guest today has had a hockey career that's brought him all around the world. He was a first overall draft pick in the OHL, where he won the OHL Rookie of the Year. He was the OHL leading scorer. He even got a Memorial Cup. He's a two-time USA World Junior Championship team member, a first-round draft pick of the 2004, I believe it was, entry draft for the Oilers. He played with them, the Islanders, the Thrashers. He has played for almost every top league in Europe, KHL, SHL, NLL, Dell, EBEL, names that you have no clue of for most of you, I'm sure they're following. He's now a consultant in NHL skills and hockey IQ coach. We welcome Rob Schremp. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, guys. Sorry about being late. Sorry about that.
Hey, not a problem. Hey, did I get that all in a timely fashion?
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. Nice. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Hey, so before sorry, go ahead, Pavel.
I was gonna say you don't have to worry about time. We're all like Hawaiian time or Mexican time, where we're just mañana, like later, right? Like we'll take our time.
All right.
Okay. I was gonna say I love in the background. I see you got the video game going in the background there. I don't know if it's out in a common space or is that in your place?
It's in the office. Yeah, that's the Simpsons. So it's great.
Oh, sweet. So I went and got myself some of those arcade ones, so Galaga, Pac-Man, and then recently I was like, I got 14 grandchildren now, so I was like, by the way, I'm working on my own hockey team, and so I tried to get the 6,000 games in one, so we could go back as far as ColecoVision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nice.
Anyway, thanks so much for joining us.
So, Rob, we ask every guest that's ever come on the show because we want to kind of get a sense. Where did your game or love for the game emerge first for your passion for hockey? Is there a moment in your life that was like, wow, this is a sport like I'm just in love with?
Yeah, definitely. When I was like probably 10 or 11 years old, really, I started kind of hit a growth spurt and started playing really good and kind of excelled to a high level. For my age group, was kind of at the top of the group. So that was when I kind of stopped. At 12 years old, I stopped playing other sports. Like I played lacrosse, baseball, football. Didn't play basketball. Did wrestling. So I played other sports. Then at about 12 years old, I just fell in love with hockey. Dove right in and was completely obsessed with it for till today. So it's been
that's incredible. And was there somebody that like pushed you towards that, or while you were getting involved and getting more acclimated to the sport, like that was encouraging you and was kind of a mentor to you in the world of hockey?
Don Kernan was a big mentor for me, and his son Donnie Kernan Jr. and another guy Blair White that used to work at the rink. So those guys really were my mentors, and I grew up there at the rink. I spent tons of time there. I mean, I was spending 6-7 hours a day at the rink with those guys. Wow. And then Don Kernan really put Syracuse on the map with hockey. They went up in the late 90s and won Trinity Quebec, which was a big deal. And he brought a junior program around Syracuse, and he gave me a lot of great advice in my young days of my career and helped me out a lot and helped me get to where I got to be drafted first overall in the OHL. It was all Don until then. So, a couple coaches obviously to thank along the way, but Don was really there the whole time and kind of guiding my path.
So that kind of takes me to a question that John's coming on. He says, how memorable was your rookie season with the Ice Dogs?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was so much new and, moving away from home, living with billets and, the whole thing. And then hockey just being a totally take a notch up in the seriousness. I was playing tier 2 junior at 14, 15, great league and great hockey. And then I get to play in the OHL again. It gets a little bit more serious, right? You're right there close to the NHL. So Steve Ludwig helped me kind of grow up pretty good that year in Mississauga, showed me the ropes, taught me what I need to do, to become a pro. Got to play with some great hockey players. So it was a lot of fun that first year in Mississauga. My only thing I wish there was more fans, right? We didn't have many fans at our game. So it was.
Do you mind me asking how many fans were they probably getting then?
I mean, if I was being honest, probably like 900 to 1,000.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah. So
hopefully it's improved. Sorry, go ahead.
Dress like a seat night.
Well, hey, just a comparison. So I've actually followed what you're doing since you're actually OHL draft there, and of course we're out of Edmonton, so I actually saw you at the University of Edmonton for the Oilers rookies game when they had you to work with the lacrosse shot. In fact, I was behind the net purposely to see, so that yeah. If I believe that was probably one of the few times you didn't actually get it actually on the net. I think it just missed
by. It flew off my stick. It was launched. I went to do the move, and the puck was absolute ice. It just flew off my stick. That was like the worst I ever did.
But so I was going to say, I think that, the Golden Bears are wonderful. In fact, we've had the Pandas coach on, Howie Draper. He's got 18 championships. We had him on a couple months ago. But I think that was one of the fullest that arena's been in a long time. That was a really fun game. But I remember I went home with a sore back.
It's funny.
I'm sure those 900 to 1,000 fans were probably very passionate about seeing you guys play and just like committed to it. And of course, as you've seen, the sport has grown so much that even at the junior level, now Connor Bedard, even though he's an elite player, he's selling out crowds. People are getting more engaged because it's such a fun game, even at that level. Now, you did play for the London Knights, as Evan mentioned, and they've been known as a powerhouse for creating a lot of power offensive forward, including yourself. Do you find that there was just such a demand to wanting to play there? Did they scout you out, or was there somewhere that you're like, I want to go play there because I have the best opportunity to make a name for myself and move up in the world of hockey?
Yeah, I was looking to get traded my second year in junior. There was just a bunch of stuff in Mississauga where it's just the new management came in, a lot of different moving parts. Show's not long enough to get into it, but
yeah.
It was a draft year, and I needed to get a new setting and new scenery just to kind of be able to focus on the NHL and not focus on distractions. And I had a list of 4 teams, London being one of them. And cool. David Bull and I, we played them. I was still in Mississauga, and we played them in a preseason game. We got to go there, and I saw the rink before the game. Just talked to David Bolin a little bit, and he talked about how awesome it was there, and the organization, the fans, and the whole experience. So my list went from 4 to 1, and then we got our way and got to London. So, it was great. So it was tough to leave Mississauga, leave the guys that we played together the season before. It was a difficult decision, but London was great, and very winning atmosphere, and the building was packed. It was electric to play in front of that crowd and have that experience.
I think a lot of people don't always understand there's so much more, to hockey that goes on behind the scenes and other things that happen, and everyone just makes their assumptions of things, eh? So let me ask you a question. When you were drafted by the Oilers, now they were sharing an affiliate at that time, so they put you down in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton with the Penguins. What was that like? Because obviously, the Oilers franchise is not the priority. It's the Penguins. It was their franchise. And they were I think there was only four spots or something like that were from the Oilers, or maybe it was less. I'm not familiar. What was that like?
Yeah. It was good. Honestly, it was good. Like the Penguins have a very good organization. Obviously their recent history speaks to that. The way they develop their players and the way they operate and do their business it's very first class. So it was great. They treated us very well. There was no bias. The guys that were playing good played. So there was no tie. It didn't matter. Todd Richards and Dan Balsman did a great job in their class acts and, true professionals. So there was none of that BS. It was never about.
That's good.
Never about who was drafted by who. It was who was going to help Wilkes-Barre win. So.
Right. And again, I think that. Sorry, I was going to say, I think sometimes that was something that was, coming out, our prospects aren't being used the same, like, how rumors get out there, right? And stuff. And that's why I thought it'd be good to kind of clear the air. It's like you're saying, you get opportunity. So do you think now, you may be familiar with Chicago right now with the Wolves, that they're looking at going fully independent here and bringing their players. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that would be good. So they'll do whatever it takes to win. So it's not about this draft pick or that draft pick. Like you start getting into that conversation, and as a coach for the AHL team, how the hell are you supposed to manage a team? Then it's impossible if someone else is pulling the strings and you're there day to day and see like the guy that they're suggesting again hasn't had a shot on net in 2 weeks, and the guy that they're telling him to take out of the lineup is a point a game guy. So some things just happen that it's out of their control. So it's really tough on some of these coaches. So having a team that's independent, they'd be doing what's right and what's best to win, and you'd see who fills that void or fills those spots, so to speak, because it's not always your number of draft pick, and that's the number of games sometimes in hockey can be tough because there's guys that are, in the coast or guys that are a healthy scratch in the A that they're actually the better player. They just don't have the draft number on them. So it's tricky.
And do you find that like when you were playing at the different levels, and of course the NHL is supposed to be like the epitome, like the top of the cream of the crop. But did you find whether it was the AHL, the European leagues, some of the tournaments you partook in, the OHL, that you had to condition and prepare yourself differently in those situations? Or did you find that it was pretty much the same kind of structure? It was the workout, etc., things like that to get mentally and physically ready for the games?
No, you get to a certain level of routine and professionalism where it's like clockwork. You're almost like a robot, really. It's just you developed your, game a certain way. You've developed your routine a certain way, and it applies to all situations, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in a Game 7 playoff, whether you're, whatever it might be. So, you kind of – it's obviously the stakes get, higher when you're in the playoffs, or you're in a World Junior Championship or Mem Cup where it's single elimination. But it's not again, usually you get to a level again with your routine, you feel comfortable with that no matter where you insert it, again, what game, it is, it's you're going to produce the same, so it's nothing really changes, I don't think.
So when it comes to, because you played in so many different places and leagues. So if anyone's talking about the differences of what it's like to play, whether it's North American ice, whether it's European ice, size rinks, whether it's different leagues, you've got your experiences over the years. Obviously, you're always getting those that want to make the big bucks. They want to get to the pinnacle of the NHL. But let's just say outside of the NHL. What is there any differences amongst most of the other leagues, KHL, SHL, Liga, Dell, so forth? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, they're all different. It's all different brands of hockey. KHL's more physical, a lot more talent. Like there's a ton of talent there. It's just some guys couldn't figure it out on how to crack the NHL and what it takes to do that. So it's not every top player fits the mold in the NHL, so to speak. You can see that in kind of a situation like that. Carlson from Vegas, he was in Columbus. He was a fourth line guy, and the coach at the time in Columbus was saying that can't use this guy. He gets picked up in the expansion draft next year. He scores 40 goals. So, there's situations like that out there, and there's players in Russia that are like that. So that league's very strong. But my opinion, I thought Sweden was the best league overall as far as the level play, organized it is, the parity in the league. And you see, Sweden's taken over. I think Sweden and Finland are really taking over the NHL draft and the development model. You see a ton of young Swedes in the NHL right now. So their development's been unreal, and that league is very, very fast, very tough. You got to play fast. You got to make decisions fast, and very structured. So,
well, and they get to play with men too, right?
Yeah,
and you get to draft a player and play with men. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very unique, and I think Germany's developed huge. They've gotten a lot better, and then you see that in their, they almost won the Olympics in 2018. Very high level of play, right? So that's a big indicator of where they're at. They got Draisaitl, Seider, you got these guys, Stützle. These guys are all coming in. They're not just, it's not, it's cute, they're from Germany. It's like, holy shit, they're really good, and they're from Germany. You know what I mean? It's much different. Draisaitl's right up there.
The Deutschland Dangler. Okay, so the question is asked here: was there a difference when you retired from Ebel and came back in 2020 over to Lat?
Well, no, the 2020 in Latvia was it's like just a semi-pro men's league in Latvia. So I was playing in that just to stay in shape and get some exercise, and I didn't join that league to make any comeback. It was a time in COVID where actually the only people that could kind of move around and get out on lockdown were professional athletes. So it gave me a chance to slap professional athlete on my title, but it was I wasn't climbing any ladder, so to speak.
Well, we can definitively say that even if you took a year off or a game off, you'd still look better than both of us combined physically. So we applaud you for that. So you've played in quite a few leagues. I guess I'm sure you have many, many memories behind the scenes, or games. Is there one particular game that maybe sticks out to you as like one of the most memorable moments for you, regardless of the level, that it sticks with you and it was phenomenal and it was a game that you were feeling it? Because we love hearing these stories from people and just like that moment that you're like, it's a euphoria high, right? Is there something like that? Or feel free to share as many stories as you want and gossip about anybody. We're happy to take it.
You can throw anybody under the bus. We're okay with it.
We're okay with it. But yeah, any memories like that?
Obviously the Memorial Cup game was like super, super special. Winning the championship with London doing it in London. It was really special. Not much can top that. I mean, we had a first place team from the drop of the puck in the start of the season to the end, and we did it the right way, and the way we won games that year as a group, it was sick. And then we got winning. The building went apeshit in London when we won, and we had a blast. And the party that took on after the celebration with all the family and friends and billets and organization, it was really cool. So that sticks out for sure. Then probably one game that sticks out would be the goal. I scored a baseball goal in Colorado. This was like an important time. It was a really nice goal for one, but two, I was like kind of like in and out of the lineup, and there was question. You know what I mean? I was kind of not being questioned, but I was a question mark if I would be in the lineup on a day-to-day basis. And say 2 games before that, I think I had a goal and assist, and I didn't score a point. And then in that game against Colorado, I scored this baseball goal. I had another couple points in the game, and that kind of like solidified me in the I made it so they couldn't take me out of the roster with that goal. So it really kind of had a lot of importance to it, but it was also sick. It was like something you do in men's.
So what you're saying, it was like the Jose Bautista moment where you whacked it out of the air. It wasn't high sticking, and then you threw your stick down and looked at the crowd. Is that correct?
yeah, essentially, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So what's it feel like? Everyone's gone crazy over the Michigan, which they act like has never happened in hockey until Trevor Zegras did it, right? I'm sure it gives you a good chuckle when it's been happening for a while and you've been showing people how for quite a while, eh?
Yeah, no, it's great to see. It's two sides of that, right? So it's for me, it's exciting to see that it's. I wouldn't say it's not just accepted, but it works. To me, I did it back 20 years ago 22 years ago. I started doing it. I was like 12 years old, 14 years old. And back then it was like everybody said at the beginning it was like wild by it. Then it was like, oh, you're a hot dog, you're a showboat. But for me, I always thought about it objectively. Like I played lacrosse. So yeah, you can't go above your shoulders with the puck. I get that. But if you can hang it on your hip, this is how I don't have to sell it, but this is how I explain it. If I came down on you on a one-on-one normally and I have to my hands are on the ice and I'm trying to attack your triangle, you can sit there and pop that puck, right? You get that stick as a defender, you can pop it. The forward has to make an unbelievably skilled move to beat the defender, yada, yada, yada. You come over that same situation, you come over the blue line, this guy's got a bad gap. You pick it up on your stick, you have it on your hip in the air.
Yeah.
As a defender, how would you get that out of my hands?
You're going to get a penalty. I'm going to get – yeah. Yeah.
You can't steer. Well, he should get steered. He should get slashed. Well, that's against the rules.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you can't do that just because you're pissed because the guy's doing something skilled. Effectively, you're not allowed to slash me or spear me. So how would you actually get that away from me? And also, when it's on my hip, it's in the air. It gives me a totally different range. If it's on the ice, I put my hands on. I only have the shooting lane that's clear of the defenseman. If I have it on my hip, I can throw it around him. My hands are like 3 feet off my body. Like objectively, it's a really smart move, and it's in the rule. It's like it's inside the rules. Like, why not? And they used to not be able to do it because it was like some older gentleman didn't like it because it wasn't what he saw before.
Are you talking about Coach's Corner with Don Cherry? It is interesting because Forsberg, even Philip Forsberg's done it a few times, right? And you come, especially with some of them, when you can come around that net and they don't even. I mean, what's the chance? Most people. like, I know some people think it's easy, and even Connor McDavid said it himself. He goes, I can't do it, and he's one of he's probably the best hockey player right now on the planet, but he can't do it. It's not so simple.
What?
No, how else would you score from behind the net?
The back of the helmet.
Now, back against the goalie's back. I guess sometimes people are trying. Or
and then if you compare the two, what happens if you miss? What if you go to bank it off him and you just rifle it out of the zone? Is that bad? So if you drop a Michigan, the puck drops and it sits right in the corner. That's your mistake, or that's your worst case scenario. Is it that bad? Not really.
Yeah.
I worry about somebody like Ryan O'Reilly who's got a curve in his stick and the puck's just going to get stuck in there, and then he's just trying to bat it out, but he can't get it out.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, hey. So we got Ray out of New Jersey here. So are you in New York right now, in the New York State area, or where are you? What's that, sorry? You're in Ontario?
I'm in Ontario, yeah.
Oh, talking about London. There you go. And that's where you are. Okay. So over in New Jersey right now. So Ray actually had a question here, and he wanted to ask you. Now, I know you follow lots of what's going on. He's asking, what do you make of the young Devils team right now? Do you think they can actually make a run, or what's your thoughts on what can happen here these playoffs?
You never know. I don't like, their size. If I'm being honest, the playoffs turn into a different game. It does every year.
Yeah.
So all year long, we just talk about the ball hockey games and the track meets that we see. And then every single year, it turns a switch and playoff hockey happens. And then everybody goes, oh, we should have got size. We didn't have size. And it's always going to be part of the game because it's territory. In the playoffs, you fight over territory, and it's, you earn every inch. And if you're a $170 versus a 220, do the simple math, right? So that worries me a little bit. I like the energy they got going, and catch lightning in a bottle. These guys stay hot offensively, and then the goaltender kicks in and it comes up big. You never know in playoffs. It's something. But that being said, heading into it, my personal opinion, I'm not, doesn't mean I'm right, but I just don't. I'm not a big fan of size. I don't. They got some good pieces there. 100%. Hughes has really found, his stride. He struggled a bit in the early years, or the early year of his career. It was a big adjustment. Now he's got it mapped out, which is great. But again, if we get, I saw what we did in this so long ago, but against Sidney Crosby, we shut him down and gave him no room. And,
exactly.
Suffocating. And that's easy to do. It's okay. Hughes is playing well. You're by his side. Don't move from his side. The rules are a little bit different. Back then. We were, some guys were skiing on him. Maybe sometimes two guys were skiing on him. That's what it took. But, I think shutting that down is kind of an easy thing in the playoffs, and that's what I'd be paying attention to, wear and tear.
So if you're looking at that kind of situation, and I know you're still involved and you do a little bit of coaching and assisting, when you look at the situation with size in relation to the eye test versus analytics, and you've seen the progression of the game since even the 80s when I started watching, how there's few more smaller guys that aren't at 6+ feet and are able to play the game and have that skill, like an Alex DeBrincat who's able to, whiff the back around. Do you think that's important now in the game, and does this help? Or do you think that once the playoffs start, it doesn't affect it at all?
The size, smaller guys?
Yeah. Being able to, you see more of them in the game now, right? But they have so much skill and talent, and they can maybe, because they're calling more of the
compensate
stuff like that, right? Do you think the analytics is truth that they can compete and be successful, or is it that they're not as successful because they need that size and grit just to play?
Yeah, no, I think there's a healthy balance for sure. I think the analytics are giving some guys more value than I don't know, meets the eye test. You see the eye test, it tells you something different, so it's tough, right? The stats there's a lot of great information that comes in the game now. We used to read stat packs that were guys' hometowns and their, later. Now it's analytics. It's their Corsi, this stuff is the meeting, right? I think it's just super important that the pieces fit. You look at a Pat Maroon, he's a big pain in the ass on the ice. He takes up a lot of space. I don't know what his analytics would look like. Probably not the greatest. I just be honest. You know what I mean? It's a simple game. He's in that front, buddy. Is he effective? Absolutely. Takes up space. He's always grinding on guys. He's, his values in getting under guys' skins, finishing his hits. So the value that Patty Maroon brings and that size, and that's in a playoff series. That's big.
Yeah.
You gotta have. I mean,
you have pests, right? Like a Corey Perry, like a Matt Maroon, like they're pests.
Paul, you got Nick Paul, like you know Victor Hedman, like they're a big team.
They're big guys.
And they're skilled.
Yeah.
So it's not that all these, you know, fairly sized or 6 foot size guys that are highly skilled are hanging off the tree here, but it's definitely a balancing act of having both. And if you go one way or the other, it's tough, right? Too much size, not enough speed. You know, you get burned in the regular season, but then the playoffs, that might pay off. Too much, you know, not enough size might play off in the, you know, regular season. Then as soon as it comes, you know, big boy time, then it's a different game, you know. So the rules change too, in my opinion. They obviously, I think, you know, I just say in my opinion,
change the game.
I don't want to make it back, but
however, I think there's
they don't call stuff.
That's true. I was gonna say there's a recent stat that I think they said the last ever since like the last 10 years, all the playoff winners, Stanley Cup winners, all the defensemen on any team that have won are at least over 6 feet. So there's definitely something there, like in terms of, but that's defense, right? That's not forward. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, we were just wondering because we have this debate all the time, the difference between analytics and that
eye test,
Corsi stuff, or the eye test. Like, what do you see that natural skill, like the eyesight, the hockey IQ that players have?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. If you look at guys like Cale Makar, right? He's a smaller guy. No one would think he'd be doing what he's doing. But then if you even look at Crosby, he's 5'11", right? You know, but he's like, I'm sure, as you know, he's got like legs like tree trunks, right? You know, he's strong. He's, you know, I almost wonder if he came from the Yager school where he did 300 squats a day his whole life, you know. But then you're always worried about speed, right? Because you just can't have big muscle. You need to be able to have that burst, which I'm going to move into talking about understanding and some of the skills and stuff. So today, you own your own hockey online community developed through Space Force Hockey. You're doing consulting. I know you take pride in being able to give back to the game. We got your websites kind of listed what you're doing. Maybe kind of tell us kind of how this experience has gone for you, and maybe update the hockey fans kind of what you're doing now today.
Yeah, so mentoring players and Space Force Hockey is an online community where the players come in and they learn in a community setting, peer-to-peer, so to speak. You know, can ask questions in there as a group, and kind of anybody that AAA, 16U AAA or 18-year-old junior player, you know, kind of open forum sort of thing. And I'm in there, answer questions as well. I upload content in there, teaching content, whether it's shooting technique, passing techniques, hockey IQ clips. So just the development of the game and just my kind of perspective of it, and teaching them, you know, certain situations. Those clips that I put up in there are certain situations, breaking it down to the why. And that way we kind of, again, learn as a community, learn as a group. It just gives me a chance to kind of scale my knowledge and experience and get that out to a lot of people, instead of only the people that come on the ice with me, or only the people that are in my circle, where that's kind of how it used to be. As a player, if you got lucky enough to be around one of these people, you can get that knowledge and have that experience. So now with this community setting, you just upload, you know, get on the Discord, and the information's up there. You can watch the videos as much as you want, learn from the details and teach. So that's the Space Force Hockey. And for consulting, I'm doing for teams power plays, going through and helping them with their setups, helping them if they're having issues, if they're a low percentage. I'm pretty good at pegging why and how to fix it. So power play was my specialty through my professional career, my junior career. Fortunate enough to come out of London, where we learned a lot from that. From that organization. The power play in London is always 25% plus over the last 15 years. So when we were in here, it was like 35%. Learned a lot, played with some great players. So and through my pro career as well, I got to play with some great players in the power play. You get to pick apart different stuff. So it's not about coming on there and just saying, oh, run the 1-3-1. It's, okay, do you have a bumper guy that can take one-timers? Can we identify that? Okay, if you don't, then we got to go overload, right? Like, it's just managing your kind of power play, because if people that aren't, not, I guess, up to speed in that part of the game, you get those buzzwords, right? Like, we got to Toronto runs the 1-3-1, we're going to run one. But if you don't understand, if you don't have, that bumper player that's very smart and very well positioned and can rip pucks from the middle, then you're kind of wasting your time. So you see that with really low power plays, the kind of, for me watching it, the details are a lot of the same. So it's a couple of mistakes they're making, and I create clips for them, send them to the team, and then we kind of consult on it and talk to the coaches on how to fix it. And that's a lane that I really love. I love doing it. So Again, being able to help as many people as possible, as many teams as possible, help coaches that run the power play. Again, if they didn't have a huge experience in that, and that's kind of their duty, I can support them in that and kind of teach them the stuff that's necessary to understand to run a successful power play, how to switch your units or how to switch your setups and what that means. So, running that as well.
So if you guys want to follow Rob Schremp, by the way, it's on Twitter. You can follow him at Rob Schremp. I was going to say, you got some great stuff as you're kind of breaking down. Of course, with, there's always what we call the Twitter hunters. They're always looking for clicks, right? I think that's the reason they say half the crap they do sometimes around there. But so I'm just kind of curious, because you're mentioning that kind of stuff. Is there any ambition to get more into coaching and on special teams and stuff like that, in the pro leagues?
Yeah, at some point it would have to be the right fit. I got a wife and daughter now, so it's some stability would be, obviously, that's the consulting thing gives me the chance to be a family man and have some security. So it would have to make sense, because we do live in Europe. So uprooting your family and there's a choice you can make to either do that or don't do that. Again, I wouldn't want it to be somewhere where I was moving every year with my family. I did that in my pro career, and that's part of the reason why I decided at the end it was time to step back and have some little bit more certainty in the life than moving from country to country every year and city to city. So definitely interesting. So I love the strategy of it. Obviously, playing for Dale, learned how to win and how to manage a bench, so to speak. Watching him do his thing. It's plenty of other coaches I've had through my career, watching what I like or don't like. What worked, what didn't work, in my opinion. Plenty of resource to kind of give back in the coaching capacity. It's just a matter of the right fit.
Well, Pavel, why don't you ask him our last question? We're going to have to give it a wrap here. Man,
I had one side question that I wanted to ask. Just out of curiosity, because I know.
Just so you, I got to tell Rob. So Rob, just so you know, we really should rebrand ourselves. Two Guys in Overtime. We're thinking we should just buy the brand for it because it just seems we never get done in our hour ever.
We never do. I guess I wanted to ask, because I know you played naturally center. Was that the position you really wanted to at the beginning, or did you want to play maybe defense or even goalie? Was that a topic of discussion at one point, or did somebody put you with goalie pads and said, "Okay, now you're blocking shots"?
I did. I loved goalie until I was 10 years old. I loved Mike Richter. I used to be able to do crazy splits as a kid, like jumping off the table into a split. Like I was crazy flexible. And probably crazy in general to actually do that. So I was playing goaltender, and then I was 10 years old, and I went to a peewee hockey camp, and they started ripping clappers, and I was like, F that. And I was out. I tore a whip by my head. I'm like, no. So center was natural for me because I could move around, and for me, having the ability and the freedom to roam and kind of shift the game and control the game. You kind of control the pieces when you play center. Traditionally, you're in the middle of the ice, you're drawing coverage, then you're distributing the puck. You support the D, and then you go and support the wings. So there's a lot more room to roam and a lot more freedom. That's kind of your job, is to roam and mess with gaps and distribute the pucks to the proper place. So I loved it, and I loved to attacking through the middle of the ice is always fun.
So I would think that Jim Rome likes your answer. There's my dad joke for the day. Okay, last question from the viewers here. What's your top memory of playing in the NHL, Rob?
Top memory would have to be becoming a kind of a shootout specialist in Long Island. That was a lot of fun. It was a cool thing to kind of, Franz Nielsen and myself would go. We were a pretty good tandem. And I was 5 for 8 my one year and 6 for 8 the other, and Franzi was right up there as well. So being a sort of a tag team duo in the NHL and shootouts is cool. It's an isolated moment where you get to show off your skill, and it's really a lot of pressure, but it's when you succeed, there's nothing better.
So awesome. Okay, you got the last question about the NHL there for him? Okay.
Yes. I'm wondering if you are up to date with any other current players or teams that you follow, that you're kind of invested in, that you're a big fan of. I know you have, your loyalty in a lot of cups, but essentially, like, is there one team that you're just like, you know what, I enjoy watching them when I have some free time, because you clearly have no free time. You're so busy.
One team that sticks out, Edmonton is I love Edmonton. I love watching them play. The brand of hockey that they're bringing now, it makes me envious. Wish it was back when I got drafted. It was a different
Yeah.
time back then. But this is the kind of dominance that they had in the 80s. And this is, those great players. We got two great players right now. And I think even a young Evan Bouchard's coming up the ladder and starting to really shine. I think he'll be even better now that Barry's gone. So they got a lot. I just love their style. They're always attacking the net. I love the way they play. Objectively, when you think about the way the Oilers play, they're constantly attacking the net, threatening the net. They're not doing the, fired up the wall, chip it in and go run after like a bunch of robots. They're playing like an artistic type of hockey. It's art what they're doing. They're developing plays. Really cool. One guy's dragging coverage, and then it's a backhand sauce from Draisaitl, wide open lane. Like you're seeing plays develop, which we don't get a lot of that anymore. We used to get it with the, Detroit Red Wings with the Russians, the Russian Five, where they were doing shit that nobody was doing, and it was unbelievable. In the beginning, people were all chirping it, and then by the time they scored 5 goals in the game from it, there was like, maybe we should try doing that. Now, it's not duplicate. You can't duplicate what they have with Draisaitl and McDavid, but it's again every single night it's art. McDavid, McDavid goes through 4 guys, which he does it like playing Pee-wee. He had the growth spurt, and nobody else grew. It's the NHL, which is not the case. Everybody's grown. Everybody's really good, and he's got on some kind of mode. Long story long, but the Oilers, every time I turn them on, and there's time for me in Europe, it sucks because that's late. Like that's really late. That's like 9 hours behind me. So
you need recorded streams. Yeah.
I like to watch it live and tweet and stuff, and people, they, like you said, some people respond with absolute nonsense, and it doesn't matter what I say, they just put negative on it, but it's a lot of fun to have that interaction.
Exactly. So, man, thanks so much. So if you guys want to follow Rob Schremp, it's at Rob Schremp. You can check out spaceforcehockey.com as well as his consulting website. We have it in the ticker. Come back, share today's show, guys, if you get a chance. So, hey, Rob, just want to say, man, we wish you still were playing right now. I'm sure that you would love to get out there, even if they just put you out there for the penalty shots and just for the power play. You would still have a blast, I'm sure, man. We miss you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Right.
We just want to say that people who have come on the show previously have gotten bonuses or like gotten an upgrade or an elevation in their work. So just so you know, after this, you're going to get a bunch of phone calls from 32 clubs or 31 maybe,
All right.
all calling for your services on top of the ones in Europe and the AHL. So just so you know,
I'm going to put you guys into the agent fee.
There we go. I was going to say we always throw him under the bus, Chris Drury. So the Rangers so what happened is they hired the play-by-play that worked for the Junior Bruins in Northeast, and with Northeastern, he was the play-by-play Alex Thomas. And then after coming on our show, the second season he came on it was early on because he used to write for the Oilers Rig. It was doing his blogging back in the day. And so he got on the show. He snuck on at the beginning of his first season. This season, we couldn't get him on because he had to go through Chris Drury, and he says, no, only people with credentials. That's it. No. So we throw Chris Drury under the bus all the time, man. Those New York Rangers, Anyway, hey, man, we appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time. All the best in your future endeavors. Hopefully we get a chance to talk again.
Likewise. Take care, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
All the best. Thank you, Rob.
Man, that was so awesome.
That was phenomenal. We hope you guys enjoyed that. If you didn't, make sure to go back to the beginning of the episode and check it out because that was phenomenal. He has some really good insight and clearly like an elite player and an elite human being. So I like hearing from him. Evan, your thoughts on the interview?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And guys, I apologize. I know some of you are in the feeds. You're asking questions. We tried to get some of them in. We had some specifics we were working with. So my apology. Now, if you still want to talk more, we just want to mention, so there's 2 things going on. So why don't you tell them about Sunday, and I'll tell them about next Wednesday before we call it a wrap. What's happening Sunday?
We're going to have a specialty episode, a special edition of us just previewing the playoffs coming up next week, starting Monday, because we've got 16 teams vowing for the Stanley Cup, Lord Stanley. So we're going to go through some of our predictions and things about the series and where we believe they're going to end up in the round of 8. And then for Wednesday, Evan?
Yeah, so next Wednesday, as we always do, we go live. But, of course, the playoffs are going to have started. That's why we're going to do a Sunday edition. We're going to do something a little different. We want you guys to be able – this is going to be our first official call-in show, as we're going to call it, for our live show at Two Guys in Hockey Talk. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a place in the link and then you can just click on that link on the right side in the comment section. You can join us, just so you know, if you're going to be commenting, Facebook and or YouTube channel. Comments come into the same place. And if you can make it on the Wednesday night, you can click in. It'll take you to a backstage area. And we will bring you on. You can share your comments, share your takes, what's happening in the playoffs, anything you want, or you can ask us questions. Generally speaking, though, we probably don't have the answer that you're looking for. And we might just disagree for the fun of disagreeing. But anyway, guys, it should be a blast next Wednesday, but Sunday, definitely check us out. And we just like to put out a quick reminder as well, just for everybody. We want to thank our partnership with the Sports Empire Network over there. Follow them for all things sports. They got great stuff going on. We carry their hockey content. So if you're joining us from there, thank you so much. Keep following what's happening in Sports Empire. Plus, we also are working with JR Web Designs. We hope to have things up and running by next Wednesday, at least the minimal. If you are a writer, you want to do some practice writing, I got my start back in the day with Smoke and Ray with the Jorthers Jambalaya in my blogging days. And you know what? It took off from there and turned into a lot of great work for a lot of stuff I had been doing in my life already. So, but anyway, so yeah, we are looking forward to being able to get that website up and running. We're going to have our former guests. We're going to have a writer section, and then we're also going to have all the newest and stuff up and all the connection. And you can go right to our website to follow everything that's happening. So again, thank you to our partnerships that we have having. Any last thoughts, buddy?
It's been a great show. Thank you to Rob for coming on the show and for agreeing to be interviewed. That was a real gem, real treat. And Evan, as always, I appreciate everything you do. As much as you know nothing about hockey, you do know how to make me feel good. So thank you for that.
I may know nothing about hockey, but I know everyone in hockey. That's what I should tag myself with, eh? Oh, man. Yeah, it's been another ring-a-ding-ding-dandy, guys. So in the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice. Stay safe, everyone. See you next time.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Boom.
Boom. Sorry, guys. That was a technical error. That was a technical error I had. So there you go.
You guys know the time.